Okay, we're back behind the scenes again for 2024 with Matt at the Raritan Valley Hi-Railers, and we have another new build going on for this year. Matt, what do we got going on this for this build?
So, doing more of a condensed coal town.
Okay.
And the reason really why I'm doing this is anybody who's been going to the Greenberg shows will see that they've kind of lacking space anymore. So our layout's been getting more condensed down. So I wanted to just kind of compress. So this will probably be the scene that you see the most time when you come out to the shows. Only because I've condensed it down to 4 modules. This scene actually used to stretch over 7 modules. But so anybody will recognize the 2 red Tipples because those have been around a long time.
Yes.
But the one I'm actually converting to a mine. It's going to have a mine head on it. This used to be the old High Line that ran up. So it ran up off of here and then it ran uphill and the train ran behind here. So that's all got ripped out. That's going to be, I'm actually using the Owen 30 track over there, and I have some little mine critters that are going to be up there like it's coming out of a mine.
Oh, cool.
They're not going to be operational. They'll just be stagnant.
Right.
But then it's going to, just looks like that this was, an old mill that was on the property. This actually has a water wheel that's going to work. So there's a motor in underneath here. And I have this water wheel actually spinning this way. So the water will come up. There's a pump that pumps water up to here. It'll come out here. But I wanted to run it this way only because I was worried it might splash onto the trains.
That makes sense.
And then the water will run down here, run into these 2 areas. This is a little stream that'll run down through here. The stream actually looks like it keeps going, but it's split between 2 modules. So there's actually 2 separate pumps that'll pump. So the water will run to here, run into there, and repump and run down here. But it'll just look like it's one stream continually running.
Oh, wow.
And it's a very simple concept. It's basically underneath the layout, there'll be 2 5-gallon buckets that just have pumps in them, like pumps you see in like tile saws and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, this is the first coat of a waterproofing membrane we actually use that stuff on shower pans.
Okay.
So it'll be 100% waterproof. And then what I do for the material is everything you have to use has to be waterproof. So it's a cedar colored caulk. So actually when I'm ready to put on here is I'll put caulk in there, spread it in there, and then I press in real stone. I have all those little jars of stone over there. And I have real water feature things on another part of the layout. They hold up great. I actually use these for the weeds in there. So at Christmas time I bought this from Michael's. But it's just, it's a rubber piece, so I'll cut all those off individual.
Oh, yeah.
They can get wet, and they'll all be in there looking like so. It'll look pretty cool when it's done. So that's just another little feature.
And what is this black product called? Because I know there's people going to have
this
questions.
This is actually made by Gorilla.
Gorilla. Okay.
So
waterproof patch and seal. So there you go.
Stuff it's like rubber when it's done. So
all right.
I used to use fiberglass to do it, which works great. Problem is the fiberglass it just overwhelms you smell wise and takes days to cure. This stuff actually doesn't have a smell to it, so you don't even have to wear a mask while you're using it.
And what's the drying time on it?
Like 48 hours. So basically it's one of the things you do. So like when I painted this, most people who watch my Instagram know I'm usually out here like Saturdays and Sundays, and then I don't really get a lot of time during the week. So this was something like I painted this last thing Sunday before I was done, and then that way by the following weekend it was ready. I could do what I had to do.
Okay. So while we're here, let's talk about these houses you built.
So this is going to be the old coal towns used to have company housing. So this was actually I saw in a book. This was a coal company in Virginia. And they did their company housing as duplexes. They had two families living in each one. So I kind of liked that look. So that's what I mimicked.
Okay.
And the way it would work is like I have a dormitory over there that we'll show later. So that would be like the single guys, the coal, who didn't have a family. These would be coal miners who worked but had family. So they would be put in these. This is the company store because they always you were paid in like company script, and so they everything because and also you were out in the middle of nowhere, so everything that you needed food wise, your toiletries, everything was sold at the company store, and you bought it with company script. was when you really thought about it, it's kind of like, I mean, they were slaves, you know, because they worked for these companies. They got paid with the company script. They shopped in the company store. So basically, they got paid by the company, and the money went right back to the company.
Oh, wow. So I got a couple questions on the houses. So these are custom built.
These are all, yeah, they're all my normal way I build everything. So it starts with the foam core underneath.
Okay.
I put the
so it's totally all foam core first, including the walls.
Yep, it's all the walls, but then it all gets put. This stuff gets put on.
Then this stuff gets put on afterwards. So after the build.
So this is all I get from Micromark. So like this is 1/8" scribed. So this is what I use to make the porches, the porch decks.
Okay.
This is 1/32 corrugated.
Oh, wow.
So that's what that's what the roofs are made out of.
That's cool.
And I'll give a little later to show how I actually get the rust color on these. And then I don't have any of the scribe, but there's a larger scribe. That's a 1/4" scribe that I use for the vertical siding.
And how are you getting that look on the floor like that?
So again, I'll show later how I use a couple simple tools.
Okay.
I used to do board on board, and the board on so like if you look up on that tipple, see the walkways over on that red tipple.
Oh yeah.
You get up close. That's a board on board. Yes, nothing looks better than that board on board. That board on board takes hours to do.
Okay.
And it's very tedious and I'm like, you know something? I just didn't feel like spending it. So I cheated and I use a tool to put in grooves. I use a pounce wheel.
It looks really, really good.
They do, except that it's too perfect. Like some guys will actually use this, but then use a knife and kind of lift some of the areas that look like a board. Okay. Again, I'm not building these models to win an award. I mean, I'm doing to create a scene. So I don't go that crazy. And then the chimney, all the chimneys they're just foam. They're just regular styrofoam. I start out with, and then I have a tool, and I'll show later how I do that too, how I create the brick chimneys.
That's so cool. Now the steps.
Same thing.
I'm loving how you did it. It looks like actual individual brick.
So yeah, well that's what that little tool that I have and I actually made that tool does. And then these will all get painted the concrete color on top to just look like it's a concrete tread. And then I hit them with a white wash to give that whitewash look.
And then I love the tar line.
The tar line, so I mean that's not how. I mean, I'm a builder. That's not how we do it now. Now everything's done with flashing, and it's all hidden flashing. But back then they didn't have a lot of that. So they would just, or if they didn't, there was a little leak, they wouldn't take the time to pull the roofing apart and put they would just tar it. Because it was faster, quicker, and they really didn't honestly care how these things looked. They want them to be dry. They didn't want water to get inside of them,
right.
but they didn't really care how they looked. These will all get weathered too with a black wash because I mean, listen, it's the middle of a coal area, so these would be black. they would have. So they're not 100% finished yet. I just did the roofs yesterday.
Okay.
But then, that's the company store.
All right, so let's take a look at the company store because you actually detailed...
I detailed the inside, and I'll have that lit. So you've got the little counter where the people walk in, and then the shelving with all the stuff. And basically the stuff on there, like if you really study in there and look, you'll see that what a lot of the stuff is just, it's garbage stuff. But you can't tell from a distance. Like those are fuses for actually Christmas lights. So, and somebody commented in my Instagram because they noticed that's what it was. So the short story is I have a buddy that's a landscaper who during the holiday season, he does professional Christmas lighting on people's houses.
Oh, okay.
So he has thousands of those little fuses. So he stopped by here one day and he had a little bag of them, but with probably about 200 or 300 of them in there. He's like, here, I figure you could use these for something. So I have those in there. There's these little things that look like buckets on there. Those are actually plugs for, that you use when you do composite decking to hide the screws.
Oh, okay.
These little things are actually G-scale bricks, but they look like boxes, so they're just on the thing.
Wow.
And then you got some rope, because obviously they would need the rope. And it's just, but when you look in there quick, it just looks like that the shelves are full. The shelves are all, but I custom built that out of styrene. Just painted them like a galvanized color.
Yeah, your interior work is really phenomenal. I got to tell you.
Well, I love doing interiors. Obviously, I wasn't going to do the inside of all these. I will do some little detailing on the porches, some rocking chairs or something. But yeah, the insides I'm not going to light. And that's all. That's the thing is that's why I use the black foam core.
Right.
If I don't light the insides, you can't see inside anyway. So then you don't have to worry about the interiors.
Oh, okay.
So this will be fully lit. So obviously that's when, and I wanted to be able, you wanted to see it. So these are custom made windows. And again, that's just 1/4-inch chicken wire is the grills. And then I just build the frame out of styrene, and then I just back it with a piece of 1/8-inch plexiglass.
I like your well even.
Yeah, with my little. I just wanted. I was screwing around one day, and I was like, maybe I'll put a little, well here, a little wishy well.
Yeah. It looks great. I mean, you even got the roof.
So that's made by Bar Mills. That's actually a laser cut. It's made. That's what it's for. It's laser cut shingles.
Oh.
So yeah, you can order. If anybody's ever bought anything from Bar Mills, they make neat kits, and then they also. So here you go. O-scale coastal brown shingles.
Okay.
They make a gray color. He makes great kits, Bar Mills, and he makes good little detail parts too. Like I have a bunch over there, a bunch of oil tanks, because all these will have like an oil tank on the side of them.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm asking all these questions is because people do watch these videos and they do want to try and attempt to build something. And so the way you mentioned the materials and the sources, I get a lot of comments that...
so like all this stuff's Micromark.
Okay.
Again, you could probably, like there's Northwestern Lumber is another one, but Micromark's probably a little more expensive, but I like Micromark only because AEO's has everything in stock. I've never ordered anything there, and they're like, and unless it's something that they can't get.
Right.
But they always have it. They're right here in Berkeley Heights. So like literally, I'll order that on a Monday afternoon, and it's on my front porch Tuesday morning.
Wow.
So they're a Jersey company, but they also don't sell any garbage. So like all their tools, everything they sell, it's all top. And I work with tools all the time. You work with tools all the time. Yeah. Why buy cheap? Why buy, unless it's a tool I know I'm going to use once or twice and never use again, then I'll go to Harbor Freight or something and buy like something. But if I'm going to use like all my cutters, these things are $30 a piece. I go through like 10 of them a year. But
really?
So if I bought cheap, because when you just constantly cut, they eventually go dull. They eventually go.
Yeah.
You break, accidentally hit something, you break a tip off. So like now these, you can see I colored them. So these I'll use for cutting stuff that I shouldn't cut with these. So these are my garbage ones. But I have like several pairs of these, and these are Xuron. But they're like $30 a piece. But when you want a nice, clean, sharp cut, because these are sprue cutters. Because all the windows all have to get cut apart. I mean, you're using them constantly.
Right.
So, I wouldn't buy garbage ones because you won't get a clean cut. You won't get, so Micromark sells all that. They don't, everything they sell is good quality stuff. My little table saw in there, my little details. I just bought, I can show that you two later. What the heck is that thing called? It's, here's one of their catalogs. This thing. So, the Wonder Cutter. So I actually got that for Christmas. So It's not cheap. I mean, it's it was actually they had a sale on it, so I got a little bit cheaper than that. But that is so basically it's an ultrasonic X-Acto knife.
Oh wow!
That's how I cut all those things with all the little. I could have never. You'd never in a million years would be able to do that with a regular X-Acto knife. That thing is so amazing because literally you just touch the thing on there and it just cuts a perfect cut.
Oh wow!
So it's just little things like that are just neat things to have. People have asked me, when are you going to get a 3D printer? When are you going to get I'm not going to go that crazy, because they're expensive and you need a computer program to run them.
Yeah.
I'm not really great with computers. So, again, it's, I use Shapeways if I need something 3D printed.
Yeah, because you get that stuff pretty fast too, right? The
Shapeways, well, depends if they have to run it or not. Shapeways can be anywhere from a week to, I don't think I've ever waited any more than like 3 weeks for something with Shapeways.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I get deliveries from that. I mean, you can see I get deliveries from them all the time. But I try to make as much, so like all my roof vents, those are just a plastic washer, and they're mushroom plugs that you would use for like woodworking. So just glue them together, put them on the thing, paint them a aluminum color, rust them up a little. You know, and if anybody's ever looked up on a roof, everybody has vents and stuff over there. And it's not like, you know, I mean, people had some type of vents from the early 1900s. There was, you know, some type of a venting system.
Right. Wow. And so we have this going on over here.
We have this going on again. I'm going to probably do some little detail with some lights here. Does this serve a purpose? No. It's not, and is it prototypical? Probably not. But it's just another thing. People like seeing trains going under things.
Yes.
So that's just, and so this was an Atlas bridge I picked up at a train show. I don't know, probably 10 years ago. Like, oh, I'll use it for something someday. And it's been sitting over on there. And finally, I happened to pick it up one day and I held it here. I was like, oh my God, it's the exact length I need. So I was like, all right, well, here you go. I'll build a little building up on top of it. I'll detail it. It's just another little thing for the train to go over.
Yeah, and I remember our last video for 2023, behind the scenes, you were mentioning that you really wanted to do this water wheel feature. And it's looking good so far.
So that's a 3D print. That water wheel was a 3D print.
Really? Yeah. That's a 3D print?
That's a 3D print.
And who made that?
That I actually got on Etsy. So I Googled.
Really?
What did I Google? I think I started with. I think I started at Shapeways. And I Googled I hit search engine for 150 scale water wheel. Nothing came up. 148 scale water wheel. Nothing came up. Then I just went to Google and I Googled 150th scale or 148th scale water wheel, and it actually took me to Etsy. And so there's a company that makes those in different sizes for garden. Like an outdoor garden,
yeah,
you know, where you would do, you know, you ever see the little trolls and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So they make it so that you could have like a little water wheel detail in your garden outside. I don't know what those type of gardens are called, but so I unfortunately the company, I want to say it's obviously not an American company, because everything is in like centimeters and millimeters. So of course, okay. So I'm like, all right, well, how much is 128 centimeters? So it's, you know, do the conversion from centimeters to inches. Right. I was like, 8 inches. I was like, so, you know, what is that in scale? I was like, it's like 32. I was like, that's a little big. But then I bought a book on water wheels, and some places did have like 30-foot. They had big water wheels. So I was like, all right, that's plausible. It's, you know, so, and it wasn't expensive. It was like maybe like $28.
Oh, wow.
I think the shipping was probably more on it than the thing. But and then it's in pieces, so it will leak. But so what I'm going to do is the same waterproofing that I use. I'm going to carefully paint each end of those, and I'll waterproof it myself. But it's all plant. You know, it's all from 3D printed, so it won't rot. And then what I'm going to do is this is going to get painted red. The building. And then what I'm going to do is when it's done, I'm going to paint on a clear silicone finish on here. Okay. Just so that if that does get, because it is going to get wet on the side. Oh, yeah. It's not going to affect anything.
Okay. So you're going to, what are you using for, what is this black stuff up here?
That's the foam core.
Oh, that's the foam
core. This is actually gator board. So it's a little bit different.
Gator board, okay.
So gator board looks like foam core, but it's almost more of like a wood veneer on the between the compressors. So it's a lot stiffer, a lot harder than foam core. I buy from Uline. So you know, Uline, if anybody's ever, they're like a shipping company. You know, they make pallets and all different types of ship. They're all over the United States. They actually have a distribution, I think, up in Kenilworth. So again, the only problem is the smallest sheets they sell are like 4x4, because you can buy like 4x8 sheets of the gator board. That's a little too big for what I need here. But you can buy like 5 sheets of that stuff from Uline, and it's not expensive. And again, I get it in like 2 days, you know, because they drop it off here.
Right. What are you using to keep this stuff intact here?
Well, right now those are T-pins.
Okay.
Those are actually used for layout and stuff like that. Like I'll use them when I'm doing my brass work. I have it's a piece of asbestos over there that I use, but it's I can pin all that stuff on there, and then I can solder right on that board, and it doesn't burn anything.
Okay.
It sounds weird. I actually bought that through Micromark. They sell it, but there's certain states they can't sell it in because it's an asbestos product. But asbestos doesn't burn. So
Right,
it's great
exactly.
it's great for soldering. So all those, everybody's ever seen the gates and stuff I make, that's all brass. And I use, but those are T-pins. You use them to lock things together, and before you, and then they work great for that, because this is just held on here, right? Because I can't glue that roof on yet because I have a lot of electrical work I have to do inside. So after I do all the electrical work with the lights, then I'll glue that on.
Okay. And I see you got this piece right here.
So that's a product made by Chooch.
Okay.
So that's seawall, but again, it's like a rubber type product. So that whole wall and everything there, all the foundation, is all going to be done with that. Okay. So again, it can get wet. So I have to, when you're working with real water, you got to find products that can get wet.
Right. And Chooch is sold by...
Chooch is, I think I got this from Walters. But Chooch, if anybody's ever seen, Chooch makes like the car loads. They make all the different. So Chooch has been around a long time. But I think I bought all this through Walters.
Okay. And I see you have some piping you're working on here as well. That's going to be for the water?
This is what feeds the water.
Yeah.
So that's actually, it's just sitting here right now, but that'll actually roll down behind here, be hidden behind this building. That's what the water pumps up to and then feeds through here, and then the water will cascade down through this overflow down into here, down through here, and then there'll be water coming out through here also. So you'll see. I haven't tested it all yet. I keep putting it off. As you can see, I've put a few things off. Like I haven't laid the track yet. I got the buildings done first. My next step, I'll probably lay the track, get the track wired,
right
where it's got to go.
Wow.
And then start working back on these. Like I said, I've got Owen 30 track back there that's going to sit up here. So this mine head will be here. That'll sit there like that. Actually, it'll sit there like that because I'm going to do a little detailed interior.
Okay.
So this was something I had. An old member had a mine detail years ago, Ronnie, and he sold this to another member who then isn't in the club anymore, and somehow or another I inherited it. So I'm like, all right, let me use it. I'm going to build another one, and there'll be another. So this will be like a dual mine. There'll be another one that sits like here. So this will look like, so this will all get covered. That'll have the Owen 30 track. And then I actually scratch built some critters. I have some other equipment. So these will sit like up here like they're coming out of the mine.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and then this one I detailed the inside like it's being worked on. So you see the motor in there.
That is so cool.
And then these would be propane run because obviously they can't use gas and diesel in the. So those are little 3D printed propane tanks from.
What are you using
Shapeways.
for the wheels on them?
That's what's came. Oh no, this is so those are Owen 30. They're made by Bachman.
Okay.
So they're Owen 30 because I detailed a bunch of those too. It's part of their Spectrum line. So that's the cold cars. I already painted all these, and I did these when I didn't have anything in the shop and I just wanted something to do.
Right.
So these are Owen 30 mine cars.
So Bachman makes these.
Yeah, Bachman makes these.
Okay.
So and then I detail them up. So this is going to be the Hidden Creek Coal Company.
Hidden Creek, I like it.
So basically what I used for the bottom is I didn't use those, and I used the base, and I glued that on. And then you know what these are. So those are Lionel ballast tampers. Remember the ballast tamper that they made?
Yeah.
So you can find, because they weren't built very well, so they broke a lot.
Right.
So you can actually go on eBay and find a lot of times, it'll be like, it doesn't run. But, here you go. If you want to use like a stag, you could pick them up for because I think they were like $100 new from when they ran. But if you get a broken one, like I think I paid like $15 for one, and I paid like maybe $20 for another one. I bought two of them and then just gutted them, took all the bottom piece out and then glued that on, made a little critter out of it. And then did some styrene work on the front. That has a lighting package, so the lights actually work on it. The little light flashes on top.
Man, that is a cool idea.
Like I said, the little propane tank is from Shapeways. It's actually a 1/50th scale, 60-pound propane tank. You know,
Wow.
same thing, gets a little, and then I'll have these mine cars, you know, that'll be like they're coming out of the you know, like they just got pulled up from the mine. So that'll be a little stagnant. Here's a car I made. So that's a crew car. So that's how they would pull them out of the mine. So you see the guy, the miners,
Oh, yeah.
miners sitting there. So that's got a little lighting package on it too. So that'll show like it's getting pulled back into the mine.
Huh.
Now I'm not sure if I'm going to use all this stuff because I have some ideas for some other things I want to do for like a little home layout that I'm going to do. So, but some of that stuff will get used on here.
Okay.
And then this will be, you know, just another little drop off area. Same thing down here. This track here will disappear. This won't, because it doesn't go to anywhere anymore. So that'll get covered. Probably use the 0130 track down there too, and it'll look like that, you know, it's coming out of the coal mine. And then this is where it gets dropped into the breaker. This is where it gets broken up and then loaded into the coal cars.
Wow.
I've already had some people on Instagram saying, "Oh, are you going to make this one operational like you did the other Tipple?" I'm like, no. I'm like, that Tipple I actually made was cool, but it was messy.
Yeah.
Well, the issue I found with it is I do want to make another one, but I want to make it for a home thing where it's set and never moves. It worked great when it was here. The problem is when you get to the shows, if you don't set that thing perfectly level, as the coal's coming out, it goes.
Oh.
So I also didn't have it very level there, and it, you know, half of it was falling out of the car, and I was frustrated at the show because I was like, this thing worked great in the shop, and then I realized that I bet you it just wasn't leveled right, you know. So I'm like, so I literally would have to take a level with me to the shows and level that. I'm like, it's not worth it. So hey, I built one. Now I know how to build it. So it was like, you know, but yeah, no, this one won't be operational. You know, the big feature with this one is going to be the water feature where you'll see that. So, and then like I said, these are getting converted.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, anybody who's been to the shows would recognize this section of it.
These are, I think I built this one. I think I built in 2011 maybe, or 2012. That's one of my first pieces. So when I look at this, I can see where like I've gotten better with doing stuff. But this was like my first attempt at scratch building. I probably should have picked something a little smaller. But yeah, I still look at this. I'm still happy with it. Like, and these were, even back then I was figuring stuff to use. So these are, if you've ever seen, you used to be able to find them all the time, the shows. Every once in a while, but they were like the yellow, they're crane pieces for carloads.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I bought a bunch of them and I used those for that. And then I built this one next.
Wow.
But yeah, this used to be, remember the High Line? You come up and it could come up. Again, it was something that just never got used at the shows anymore. So I was like, all right, it's time to change this.
Right.
And then this will be, actually we'll go like this. This will be a chute, you know, like a conveyor.
Oh, wow.
But it'll be lit. It'll have a, you know, so I use this as the base piece inside. So this will actually get covered with wood. I'll build a little catwalk to go in here. I'll have lights, but it'll just unplug because it goes between two modules. So just at a show, I'll just lift it out of place. And when we're ready to go, just go plug it in, put it down in place, but it'll look like, you know, connects the two together.
Right. Yeah, that'll be nice. Very nice.
So this is a 3-foot module, 3-foot module, 4-foot module, 4-foot module. That 2-foot module then makes, you know, these two then become like 4-foot modules. So this is four 4-foot module fronts. I designed this in a way that in a show, if they make a smaller where I can only be 3 4-footers, I don't have to do the company housing.
Oh, okay.
I could just leave that one aside. But yeah, so if anybody remembers this too, this was the dormitory that sat behind, like in front of the church, but the end of the back, you know, that town that's in the back. But we haven't almost been able to have that set up in a year and a half, just because we haven't been able to be big enough. So, and I did a modification on this last winter where I actually built it because this got damaged in a transit, so the whole top roof got crushed. So it was one of those that it's time to, and I've always liked that building, that dormitory. So I actually added this whole like it's getting expanded.
Right.
And I'm like, something, I want to use it in the show. I want it to be seen. So I ripped this building off another module, and I actually cut all this area out. So this isn't existent. This is the drop. This sits on the main line. This is the drop off. So I actually revamped all this, made this fit here. I cut it down. This building used to be a little bit bigger. It had like a little laundry area, so I added that porch, but then moved the conveyor that takes the drop off to the truck. Added some lumber loads, the company working on it. Of course, add a sign on there. That's actually my company, Cape Builders.
Yeah, let's take a closer look at that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, why is it not lighting up? It's fuse bulb. Get another fuse. Yeah, there's little guys in there, little framers, and
Yeah.
there it is.
There we go.
Got the little work lighting up there.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like how you made it like it's, an addition is going on or a remodel or...
Well, they're just basically adding off this dormer off the top. So this will be 3 more. So you can see this, the doorways in there. So this is 3 more units that they're adding up top. So, I mean, this would be, they're setting rafters right now. So he's up there setting rafters. This guy's sending the rafters up. All the rafters have their... I mean, anybody knows anything about framing knows that, all lumber has crowns. So you want crown up. So that's why, everything gets the arrows. So you mark. So as the guys are setting, they know that that's the crown that goes up.
Wow.
But it's, I put in the little birds' mouths and there's all it's good. There's the pattern. Always make the first one that fits, and that's the pattern that traces everything to go.
Okay, yeah. So
I'm sure
cool.
Things have changed a little. I mean, I haven't actually physically framed in probably 20 years, but that's where I got my start. When I first went business, I framed. I was a framer. Now I just sit at a desk and write paperwork and play with miniatures.
I like how you got that coal rolling off there like that.
So that is what I did. Is I used a piece of wax paper. To put glue down on it.
Oh.
Put the coal in there, and the coal I use is actually it's looks like real coal. I actually buy it at PetSmart. It's a substrate that's used in the bottom of fish tanks, but it has the shiny. It looks like real coal.
Yeah.
So I made it long enough. So say I knew I needed 6 inches there. I made the piece 12 inches long. Once it dried, I took it and folded it over on itself so that it had. Because, obviously when you do it on the wax paper, it's got the flat side.
Yeah.
Where it has the glue. So I folded it over, so now it's together, glued it there, and it looks like the cold spore. And it's tough. I mean, feel it. It's tough. Like, it's not, it'll hold up.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool. Ah. Like that. And
this was an HO kit, for this conveyor. But it's perfect size for what I need here. And then it just looks like, so what this would be is, back in the day, they would come up over a scale. After it got loaded, they would come over the scale. If it was too overweight, they'd have to drop coal off. Because everything was calculated to, if they knew they had to get over the mountain, you can only have this much weight. So they would drop off, and then this is just, them reloading it back up and taking it, and then that'll go back up to the reload.
I'm going to see if I can get this spinning down the side here.
But this module, this has always been a little crowd favorite. It's also, if you look at my videos on Instagram, it's one of my favorite spots to shoot videos of trains going over.
Right.
Because it just looks neat, you know. It's just a neat little.
Right.
But I built this probably. Dates underneath. I date everything, so I probably built this maybe 8 years ago.
Wow.
But I just did the modification a few months ago. But yeah, no, I'm excited now that this is on this module, because at least now I know it'll get used at every show. But this would be where the single coal, you know, and you could tell the single guys are here because it's payday. Yeah, you can see the girls up there.
Yeah.
There can be some party going on. So these aren't the family guys that live here.
I like how you put the lights in the truck too.
You got the lights in the truck. This is an old Lionel piece. So I actually wanted one of those for another project, and I didn't realize that when you bought that, it came as a 3-piece. It came as a little lumber shed, a little barrel shed, and then that tower. So I just bought another one online, and this is actually how it looks when you get it.
Oh,
Anybody remembers the old Lionel
yeah.
pieces? Like, you know, that was their color, that white plastic with the green.
Yep.
So it'll eventually I'll paint it and weather it and get it too. But I always thought this was a cool little tower. You can still find these on eBay, and I got these for it was like $20. It wasn't crazy expensive. But yeah, I have another project I want to, so I always like that little tower.
Pretty neat.
It's just, you know, again, my little lumber loads. So the red and the blue. So if anybody's ever seen lumber cubes when they're done, I mean, that looks like the individual studs. The way that I actually did that, so I didn't have to do it because it's actually not grooved. That's just a paint mask.
Oh, okay.
So what I did
Pretty neat.
is, so this is fiberglass tape that you use for like a joint. Of course, I can't find that. But anyway, I use that. So those are just blocks of wood. I actually put these on the ends and then just hit it real quick with spray paint.
Oh, wow.
And it acts like a mask. And it actually gives me that look of like individual
That's
lumber.
pretty neat.
So when I did, redid Bobby's module. So Bobby's the one that has the lumber yard on is the real, I mean, I had to make like, there's like 100 loads in there because I really wanted it to look like a lumber yard. And at first I was trying to groove, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to take me forever. I have to figure out a faster way to do this. So I actually, I saw the, oh, there you go. So there you can see. So there
Oh, yeah.
There's your lumber. So you just take, and this is self-sticking. It sticks. So literally just take the blocks, put it on the end, put it up, pull it off, and done. You know, there's your lumber.
Wow.
And then the actual sheet that wrap it are actual. So I went online and found lumber companies and found their different logos, and then just printed out all these sheets, and then just wrapped them up and strapped them. So the lumber loads came out pretty nice. And I had some left over, so I used them there.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Alrighty. So you want to show us how to a couple things?
Yeah, so we'll do. So we'll start with the brick. So my tool is an old paintbrush. It's the size you need. Take the bristles out. So I just basically what I did to get them out cleanly is I soaked it in like a paint thinner for like days, and it just sat in there and it loosened up the bristles. I pulled them out. I used a pair of things to square it off the way I wanted, the shape I wanted. Take a file it so it's nice and good. It's sharp. So now when I just take this, and it doesn't have to be perfect, you don't have to use it. I just take and I start pressing it in there, and then obviously you want that bond look, so you take and you just keep going up. That's it. I mean, it's nothing. It's not. It's not a science. It's not like you got to be perfectly clean with it. Because you know, if you ever look at bricks, they aren't perfect.
Right. Exactly.
You just keep doing that, and then all the way around, it gets painted. I mean, I use cheap paint, but it's actually called brick red. So you can't. It gets painted that, and then I give it a whitewash, wipe it off, and then that's what gives it its, you know, the final look. When you get it, it makes it look like it's.
Wow.
And then if the top, you know, a lot of times the tops were concrete.
Right.
So you just paint that. So this is actually meant to sit in a valley. It's that other building. So then we'll go on to doing. So this is the scribed.
Yes.
So this is what they call a pounce wheel. Now my father actually used to use these years ago. So blueprints, if you needed to make a template, they would have a picture. He would actually roll this along that thing on the paper, on the piece of wood. When it was done, he would put like chalk, the blue chalk, and rub it in there. And when you peeled off the paper, you had the template down on the thing.
Wow.
I don't know if that was what they're real, but that's what my father used to use these for. So now I use it for, so this gives me my nails. So I just take this pounce wheel.
Oh, wow.
There's my nails. You know, you do a scale, whatever would be, you know, whatever scale you're doing. And then, so there's my nails. And then I've actually made this little tool. I just took it and ground it down and sharpened it so it fit in between here. And then I just take and, again, there's my board seams. You know, and these are always, you know, kind of random. You just kind of do them random.
Right.
And then my look to wash those is, so this is a alcohol India ink mix. I usually when I make it in big quantities. So it's just regular rubbing alcohol and then India ink. I use differences. Sometimes it's a 3-to-1, 4-to-1. You just got to keep mixing it till, you know, what you like. And then this is simple enough that you just paint that on, and you can see how it falls into all the and brings out the highlights of all the detail you did.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
when that dries, that'll dry like a grayish color.
Oh, wow.
Now for my rust, let me put some on here to get this started. So I start with this, let this dry, and it'll dry because it's alcohol, so it dries very
fast. Okay.
So we'll just let that sit there for a minute.
And as that's drying, we'll take a look at this, and yeah, you can see the details that pop out.
So because the ink sets in all the areas, so it really brings out the detail.
It does. It really does bring out the details.
Now this is one of my custom washes. So basically, if you want a nice rust color wash, you mix together burnt umber and raw sienna, and that'll give you a rust color. Again, depending on how dark or light you want the rust, is you have to mix. And that's with water.
Okay.
You can see there's my rust color.
So what's your water to paint ratio?
Again, I just do it to, so it's 50-50 of this.
Okay.
So it really doesn't matter, as long as you get 50-50 of that, and then you just keep mixing till I see the consistency I like. I don't really, it's not a formula.
Okay.
You know, it's the artist of me. But, and then, and then that's it. You paint that on there. And that gives you your rust color. And then what I do is once that dries, I mean, we're speeding this process up.
Right, yeah. I understand.
Is my light rust, I just mix water with the raw sienna. And then that gives me a light color rust.
Oh,
so
wow.
this is like where the newer. So it's kind of, it's just starting to settle out.
Right.
What you do is areas that would have that. So that would be like edges.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, if you look on here, see how all the edges are.
Yes, yes.
You know, spots like where it would have the light rust. And that's how, you know, it's really a simple product. But I have tons of washes that I do, all different kinds of colors. Washes are how I do on my weathering. That's how I got all my weathering done. I'm a big fan of washes. And that's it. Like that's, it's not, you could also use stain if you wanted it darker, you know, like
right,
you could use, I mean, I have stains, you use Jocko Bean is like black. I don't know, actually the black is ebony, but I have different color stains I use. The stains I use if I'm doing large areas, because the cleanup with this obviously is different. You know, with the washes, it's water. Same thing with the alcohol. This water will wash it out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's why I do a lot of this stuff with, you know, I mean, especially these. If you've ever bought the plastic chimney, like the ones that are poured, they're $10, $8, and they're not always the right size. Like these, I custom made to, because this is a duplex. So the chimneys, so it's actually half and half, one for each side. So I don't even know if you'd find something like that out there. So I needed it made. I made those chimneys in an hour.
Wow.
You know, so because you see, the process doesn't take long.
No.
And then, you know, once you paint that, wash it, it'll look great. I mean, it'll look like that.
It's funny how you figure out different things to use as a tool to make what you want. That's kind of neat.
Well, it's all about, like, how do I get to this process? You
Right.
know, so you start looking around, you start looking at things, you look online, and I'm not going to lie, maybe I didn't figure that out, maybe I saw that online. I don't know anymore because I see, but, you know, maybe I saw somebody else did it online. But that's what you do. You go online and start looking at things and watching other people, what they do, and you pick up little ideas, or you take an idea and what they do, but you're like, oh, I can modify that to make it work for what I need. So maybe I saw that with something else. I was like, hey, why can't I do that with a square shape? You know, and so, but that's, you know, that's just how that's how it's done. You know, you got to kind of figure out what I need and what's the process to get there. Usually, like most of my shopping for stuff, it's in the weirdest places. You know, Home Depot, Lowe's, because you'd be amazed at things you can find in Home Depot that you can use for a mop, like the mushroom plugs. You know, for doing these. You know, that's a wood product. You know, it's in the aisle with you know, this is what they look like. Plastic washer and mushroom plugs.
Huh. Wow.
There's my vent, and that scales out to a little bit less than 2 feet. Those roof vents are 28 inches, 26 inches, so it's about the right size. But they do make these in 3. These are half inch. They make 3/8. They make different size mushroom plugs, so you can. You know, those things work great for. They look just like them.
Wow.
You know, doing water pipes. So you can see some of those are you know, those look like the corrugated water pipes. See, that's conduit that electricians use when they want to run something, they need to run a wire back through later. You know, like if you go into any of my job sites where the islands aren't kitchens, you always see a piece of this sticking up through the floor. That's where the electrician is later going to run a wire up through to feed that island. So those are, I don't pay for any of that stuff because there's always an 8-inch cutoff, 10-inch cutoff. You know, and all my guys know that, you know, I use, so for a lot of times they leave like little piles of stuff they think I would want. And then I'll go there, you know, it's actually kind of funny that everybody like knows me now. They're like, hey, can you use this for something?
I can use this for something.
Like here. So I have this that I use for window stuff sometimes. This is all this is. I use this piece. These are filters for HVAC. So I actually use this for, I rip the backs off of these and actually use this for the filter for my paint sprayer. Because you can buy these from the manufacturer makes it, and they're like $40 they charge you for the filter. This is the same damn filter. Because I was looking at it one day and go, this is literally the same filter. These are like $8. So not only do I get the filter I need, I also get some parts that I get out of. So, and these are sold right in Home Depot.
Wow.
So that's, you just have to kind of start getting creative with stuff.
Right.
I mean, that was the whole thing. You know, there's a piece of that chicken wire I use. There's my window grills, and that's 1/4 inch. So that scales out to 1 foot. That's a pretty good size for a window, for a big picture window like that. And it looks great. I can build a window any size. I mean, you've seen some of the windows I've made. Sometimes I need big windows. You can't find, like I use Tichy for all my windows. He doesn't make anything that big. So I use anything that I can of his, but then if I need something bigger, I just make it. It's not hard. Anybody can do this. It's not hard to do this stuff. This took a little bit of time, a little bit. There was a lot of cursing, cussing, because it's a lot of individual pieces. That took me probably all weekend. I just worked on that all weekend and did it. But a lot of it also helps because I know how frames go together. So I know that, you got to have a header, you got to have your 2 liners, you got to have your king stud, so I wanted to make sure I got all that in there. The little blue line, anybody again who's a sheather knows that all that's this line that gets snapped so that you set the sheathing properly.
Oh, okay.
On the right line.
Huh. Pretty neat. All right, Matt. Well, once again, thank you for this behind the scenes and talking about everything you've been doing and showing people the process of how you've done some things and mentioning the products. And I just hope to see you guys out there at the shows a little bit.
So I told you, so you'll definitely see us. We got invited to be in the 2024 TCA convention, which is in Lancaster, Pennsylvania this year. The dates are June 15th to the 23rd. That's the convention's all week. We're going to be there from Thursday afternoon. The hall opens up at 5 o'clock for the layouts and the marketplace. We'll be there Thursday night, all day Friday, Saturday till 2. So the TCA convention registration I think opens up like the first week in February. So I like the conventions. We did the 2015 convention when Mecca sponsored it. You get to meet people from literally all over the world because, people, I mean, I met somebody there from Australia. I met somebody because it's the big convention. So they come here from all over, but you definitely meet people from, I mean, there was people there from Dallas. The guy who I sold a lot of my modules at that convention to a guy who lived in Boston. He happened to be here. He saw the stuff. He offered me a ridiculous price, and and I just asked him. I said, "I need it here till Sunday." He goes, "Absolutely." He went and rented a truck. He came there. He helped me take it apart. We packaged it, and now I have part of stuff that's in Boston somewhere, in somebody's layout. So so we will be in the national convention. Definitely. Probably not going to be in the March show, but we should definitely probably be in the August show.
Okay.
And, because Greenberg seems to be doing that rotation now here, where let one club, then the next club, then the next club, just because of lack of space.
Let me ask you this. I mean, I'm just curious. Have you thought about expanding into other shows such as the Great Scale or?
We've talked about it. Like I said, we were supposed to be in the Oak Show. Then in last minute, a couple got. The problem is getting the layout there. Obviously I have 2 trailers here, so I always need somebody else who can pull the other trailer. And that person has kind of a hectic schedule, so sometimes he just can't make it. And unfortunately, the problem is those 2 trailers carry half of the layout. So, and then there's another guy who has a trailer that he has part of. So if so there's probably 20 members, but if 5 of them can't make it, that really carries the bulk of the layout. It kind of hurts us. It's been a little easier lately because they've made us be smaller, so we can kind of do it with less guys.
It almost sounds like you need to buy an old United Van Lines trailer on a Dakman tote around.
There you go. Well, so you and Mel are the only 2 because Mel he has a CDL too. He's a truck driver. We would need somebody to drive it. So sure, if you want to come up and you have a hectic schedule too, so I know you can't make it. So I'm, so we're hoping to maybe do Oaks. When's the next Oak show? Is it during the summer?
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe do the Oak show. I mean, maybe Timonium. It's it's just tough. It's getting the guys to commit.
Yeah.
So like I said, if things go normal, more than likely we probably won't be in the March show because we were in the November show. But then that'll mean we'll be in the August show. But then, like I was telling you before, that means we won't be in next year's November show. And that's the first time since I've been a member of this club that we won't be at the November show. It's obviously a good thing for the hobby because, I mean, the Greenberg shows are busier than I've seen them in a long time.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
I mean, that was the November show. I left the layout to go walk around. There was so many people that Saturday that it actually creeped me out. I actually walked back to the layout because you were packed in there. Like probably more people in there than legally should have been allowed because you couldn't move. So, but that's good for the hobby. It means that the hobby has a lot of interest, but because there's more vendors, more tables there, it's less room for layouts. So, and so we suffer. But I mean, I'm glad the hobby's doing well. So yeah, I don't know. We've thought of some things. Different. Like there's some towns that do some things that maybe we might do, but it's hard to do short things like where they only need you for a day, because it's a long time to set up. We've done those. We did a thing right before in 2019, right before COVID. We actually did the town of Little Ferry's Christmas tree lighting. So we had to get there like 7 in the morning. We weren't the huge layout. We were smaller, but we had to get there like 6 in the morning, be set up. I mean, they fed us. They took care of us. A great group of guys up there. And they have a really cool tree lighting that they did. And but then, we had to take it apart after it was over. So we didn't even get out of there till like 1 in the morning.
Wow.
By the time we got home, it was a long day. It's a tough one to do. But we're talking about it. We're trying to find some other venues. But the guys are also getting older. I mean, I'm one of the youngest ones in the club. So it just gets harder and harder for some of the guys. So I don't know. I don't know what the future for us is. I'm hoping we get another 10 years out of it, but who knows? But the hobby, I think, will be around for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, there's not a lot, like you see, we have one young member. You got one, and he's still in school. So once he hits that, trains are gonna go by the wayside for a while. So I don't foresee, there's not a lot of young guys coming into these clubs. There's younger people in the hobby, but not coming into these clubs. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work setting this up and taking it down, but it's fun. I like it. I love talking to the people. I'm looking forward, but I am looking forward to the convention. So definitely come out to the convention if if you're a TCA member. I don't even know if you have to be a TCA member to get in. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, I'm not sure either with the convention.
I've been a TCA member since 2011. So, but I'm the only TCA member in our club. But like I've taken guys with me but even York. Don't they have a day where even if you're not a TCA member, you can get in? Now
you can, yeah. It
used to be strict. You had to be a TCA member.
Yeah, they've been doing away with a lot of rules because they realized that they need to attract more people in there. So now they actually open up at least 2 days that I'm aware of to bring people in.
Which is good. They should. The bottom line is, you want the people that are there selling stuff to be able to make money.
Yeah.
So why not? Not everybody can afford to pay because I just pay mine automatically every year. I don't remember what the TCA is. It's either $75 or I don't remember what it is a year now. But I've been a member. It's nice to get the TCA letter thing all the time. I read what's going on. I do go to some of the small TCA events. I'm a member of the Mecca division, so I do go to some of their things. It's nice to see the guys, just everything. But I haven't been to York in probably 8 years. It always seems the 2 times a year that it seems to be busy. I'm busy, so. But I used to go to York. I used to enjoy going to York. But definitely come to the convention. You're going to see some layouts there that I'm probably going to see some layouts I've never seen before. I know your Three Rivers, the guys there are Three Rivers.
I think so.
They're going to be there, and then some of the layouts that are, I've seen them online, but I've never seen them in person. So it's going to be kind of cool to see some of these other layouts. And same with us. You know, there's going to be people seeing our layout who've never seen it before. So, you know, and I think our layout's pretty impressive. For a modular layout, I think our layout's pretty impressive. I mean, you know, I know there's home layouts that are certainly a lot nicer than ours, but you know, I think some people are going to see it. They'll be impressed by the, you know, just what goes into it.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so we'll catch you at the next training show and the next update.
Sounds great. Thanks, Sean.
All right, we'll see you.
Take care.
Bye.